like that. Okay. Okay. So Sherni first, you and Sridevi have a common connection. In Tumhari Sulu, you enacted her song, and Sherni was also a film that Sridevi ji had done, and now you've done it. So there's always tell me about that connection, Sridevi ji and you.
Oh my God! You know, I remember when Vikram told me that we're going to be calling the film Sherni. I was like, oh wow, you know, I think there's a Sridevi film by the same name. And he said, okay, let's check it. When I saw that, you know, it wasn't just a doubt, but she had actually done a film called Sherni, I was so thrilled. Because I think she's the only one who deserved to be called Sherni.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and she was also Leo, Lioness. She was also that way.
Yeah, Leo. 13th August.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Now, there are terms like the lady officer, actress, lady constable, and IPS, lady IPS. Will you see these words being eliminated and just being called without a gender? Like today, thankfully, we call an actor. It could be an actress or a male or a female actress. We call them an actor. Do you see that gender being...
When I think, yeah, I think that's bound to happen, Manju, but when the exception becomes the norm.
Yeah.
So, you know, of course, there are quite a few female forest officers, but not equal to the number of male forest officers.
Yes.
So maybe therefore, and also because these are the kind of professions where you don't, historically, you didn't see too many women. So, you know, there's almost, it's almost part complimentary when someone says a female forest officer. But I think that is bound to change because the world is changing.
Right. Your characters are always on a search. Like for a lot of your characters, I'm just, as a detective, you disguised and found criminals as Bobby Jasus. As a pregnant woman, you sought the killer. In Sulu, you searched for yourself and found her. And now you are in pursuit of a tigress. So seeking is part of your characters.
I think seeking is life. Yeah. So I think, you know, I am constantly seeking.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that says it all.
Okay, so did you also meet IFS officers during the shoot?
I did.
Okay.
You know, I met two forest officials, two forest officers, and they were helpful, very generous with time. You know, they shared links of videos that I could watch, documentaries that I could watch, shared books for me to read, and also took me on forest trails. I'm not at liberty to take their names, but I'm very, very grateful to them.
What struck you about them? What was that uniqueness that you found?
The fact that, you know, in my head, I thought, oh, female forest officer must be like, you know, like a Sherni. But when I saw them, they were like, they could have been in any other profession. So their physicality didn't
determine.
Didn't
determine their profession.
No, not that physicality didn't determine, but you know, we have a certain perception, right? Oh, police officer would look like this. Or even the depiction of female police officers, for example, has been a certain way in cinema. And I didn't know, I'd never met a forest officer, so I didn't know how they dress, how they walk, not that I'm generalizing it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, but when I met them, I realized that they could be in any other profession, but they're not necessarily aggressive. Okay, that's what I was actually trying to get at. I probably associated a certain aggression with being a female forest officer, but when I met them, I realized that one of them was a little aggressive, one wasn't aggressive at all. You know, that was definitely not a prerequisite. They didn't feel the need to be, this is what it is. They didn't feel the need to be masculine and what do they call it? Hyper-masculine. Because they were
in a profession which had less women.
Yes, exactly.
So
I
they
think
would
that part of it fascinated me the most. Of course, when I learned about their training and the demands of their job, it was a real eye opener.
okay. Lovely. Uh, all your characters, right from Shakuntala to Silk to Bobby to Sulu to Begamjan to Pariniti to Parinita to Vidya Bagchi to Tara Shinde and Dr. Vidya and this character, how much of strength do they impart?
I think every character I've played has been that of a strong woman, because I believe every woman is strong.
And
It just depends on, there are inflections of strength that you see in the different characters.
yeah,
Vidya Vincent in Sherni is a very strong woman, but when you meet her, she doesn't come across as a brave or strong woman. She's not stereotypically so. But I guess you don't need to roar to be a tigress.
yeah, true. Well. I think beautiful words to. I mean, I've got my headline. Okay, with OTT content exploding the world across, with such lovely content happening, do you feel that, of course, Sherni comes into that space in a very beautiful way because it's a space which is waiting to consume content which is unusual, which is rich, and it's got you helming the whole thing. How do you see this entire revolution happening? I know the big screen, small screen is always there, but
No, I don't see it like that at all, Manju, because I feel, I'm an actor and I'm greedy for good parts and good stories.
yeah.
And of course, I didn't know that Sherni would be on Amazon Prime, but I'm thrilled it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Because especially at this time when people are still largely at home, when they haven't been able to step out too much, just watching Sherni may give them the feeling that they're they're out, amidst nature. I think that itself would be a refreshing feeling. And then to see something new is always welcome.
Yeah.
And just look at the range of content that's being offered to us. I think the OTT platforms happened because in the larger scheme of things, the universe knew that, there's going to be a pandemic and, that we probably, to ease it for us in at least some ways. Of course, there's no comparison at all, but I'm just saying, I think the OTTs are a big boon. And, Amazon Prime reaches 240 countries. So on the 18th of June, effectively, Sherni can be accessed across 240 countries. That's insane.
And the number
of course,
yeah.
And we're talking, like, I watch films from different countries, like in languages I don't understand. I'm sure somewhere, someone, or maybe many people in many different countries will be watching Sherni.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty of OTT. And we are waiting to watch you play that role. Because
thank you.
You'll bring magic to her character. And there'll be empathy as well, because that's what you also award your character. There's always some relatability. And you say that, okay, that's Vidya doing it. So there's something like that about.
Thank you.
What is that you add? Like, I know it's a secret, whatever it is, but it's beautiful.
I guess unless I'm able to empathize with the character, I can't play it.
Yeah.
So maybe, I don't know, but it's a lovely compliment. So thank you. I'll just keep it.
So reading the script, what went through? I mean, how did you?
It actually wasn't a script. Okay. Amit and I had done a dozen ad films together, and we were just having a chat. And he said, would you be open to, in typical Amit fashion, a film set in the jungle? And, I haven't really thought of the story, but, I'll bring you something if you're interested. I said, bring me something. I thought, jungle, we've not really seen a film set in the jungle ever in Hindi cinema. Correct me if I'm wrong. But, when he brought this to me, I was like, wow. Because there's so much conversation around the environment and conservation and man-animal conflict and all that. And I thought this makes the point beautifully without making a point of it.
Yeah.
So I said, wow,
And yeah, sorry.
It's unfamiliar territory for me, and with a very unusual director.
Yeah.
So I said, let's do it. So I actually read the script later, but I said yes to the film before I read the script in this instance.
Oh, lovely. Did you also interact with the villagers, and what did you learn from the women there?
It was so amazing because I remember on one of the first days, there's a scene when, this woman who's probably always had a ghungat on her face had to perform with me, and she was crying in the scene. You will not believe it, Manju. Without glycerine, that woman cried in take after take, and as convincingly and as heartbreakingly. And she wasn't shy, she wasn't conscious, nothing. And I was like, wow. And this was one instance. We have lots of villagers in the film. Firstly, what I find is that their native intelligence is so strong, and they know so much about nature and the wild and herbs and plants and just animals, their routine and all of that. I found it really fascinating, but also the fact that they're not conscious. They don't care what you think of them.
Yeah.
The places we were shooting in, they don't really watch films also. So they were recognizing me from some of the ad films I've done.
Oh, okay.
And they were saying, wo lambe baal wali, tum hi ho na. Because I do a hair oil commercial, and then there was someone else who remembered something else, and I was like, well, I had no clue that people would recognize me from the ad films and not from the films. And then they have, it was amazing, yeah. They were so bindas. And in take after take, they would perform properly. I remember in one take, one of the actors kept forgetting something. The other villager realized that the camera couldn't see his face. So he actually prompted this guy. And I was like, Diggaj nahi kar pate yaar ye. So I think maybe I just underestimate people who've not worked in front of the camera before, because I've always found it like, my God, I'm always awestruck, because when I started out, I knew nothing and it showed. Here, it definitely doesn't.
My last question, and then after that, my colleague Hanan will ask you 3 questions because she's from the section of the magazine. The last question is, the Muhurat was also done in a temple in the forest.
Yeah.
So tell me about that.
It was in the village and it was so lovely. We also had images of representing the different faiths in our country.
Okay.
I thought that was beautiful because we had people belonging to different religions on our team. So that was to respect the sentiments of everyone. It was obviously not possible to cover all the possible religions, but we had 4 of them, and I thought that was a lovely gesture. It was just nice to have the Muhurat in a temple, and in the middle of nowhere, we walked through. I got out the car, and then we had to walk quite a distance to get to the temple, and it was so simple, so nice. It was a great feeling.
So all the best for this film, and we are
Thank you.
I'm sure. I think we're all rooting for you, Vidya. We love